Assalamualaikum to my beloved lecturer. Today, our group members would like to present about the topic, the application of Qawaid al-Adah Muhakkamah in the Islamic banking, finance and economy. First of all, I would like to start with the introduction. Al-Adah Muhakkamah is the fifth maxim according to the sequence of the five main maxim. The basic meaning of it is costume is a basic of judgment. The meaning of costume basically from the word of adah. The definition of adah in the language term is something that repeatedly or in other term habits. Adah can be referred as some actions or words that repeatedly doing by human and that is executable by human mind and nature. Okay, next, in the context of the maxim, costume and habit considered as the important thing in the part of human life. The last one is the action that repeatedly been doing and actually become habits and costume in human life and society. If this action is not practiced, will become a big problem toward the situations. That's all for introduction. Thank you.
The first issue in Al-Adah Muhakkamah is sale and purchase. Nowadays, sale and purchase has always been a necessity of community living. Although the history of human life has changed, the needs and requirements of the business remain to this day. The only change is to the goods and methods of the transaction. In the past, it did not appear that a transaction could be made remotely. Now, it is no longer an impossible question. In fact, this transaction of sale and purchase have begun to dominate the forms of everyday in business. Today is rapidly changing human life. Sale and purchase in the term fee is to exchange goods or property in a certain way or to exchange something in a corresponding manner. Sale and purchase is the exchange of goods on a voluntary basis or the transfer of property in exchange for a permit. While in the Islamic term, sale and purchase is the exchange of property with another and ownership, giving and ownership. Some scholars give the idea of exchanging property while still under the liability or benefit of converting it to something that resembles both to provide on a regular basis. The most common issue in this sale purchase is the sale of item between the seller and buyer that is not included with ijab and qabul. Discussions on the use of custom or earth as the decree of this law have been touched upon by al-mutakaddimin. Scholars will have previously discussed the problem of selling al-muta'ah, namely buying goods from sellers who only accept price without expressing their ijab and qabul. The law in the Al-Imam Shafi'i section is invalid. If the custom or al-adah is taken into this issue, then the sale becomes valid.
Issues about rental or rent ijara, we can look up by the survey of rent or wages in based on Quranic verses Surah Al-Talaq sentence 6. And some scholars like Dr. Mustafa Al-Buga made verse 26 of Al-Kashas surmising that Moses was hired by the Prophet Shu'aib by marrying his daughter. Whereas in these fields of rent or hire, the Al-Adah Al-Muhakkamah method is used to require the following. First, descriptions of necessities as a result of rented equipment. A person who rents a sewing machine does not include the financings of the yarn in the lease. Similarly, people who rent a car cannot claim the price of gasoline from the owner of the vehicles. Secondly, duty to pay wages. A person who gives clothes to a seamstress does not have to claim a wage for the job because every job usually paid. This means that conditions for paying wages are not required in the contract.
There are many issues related to application of the Al-Adah Muhakkamah that use in this sale and this business, including online the sale and purchase. Today's economists, they use electronic media in the sale and purchase of transaction. The internet media trading activity is popularly called electronic commerce, e-commerce. Selling is one of the most important form of e-commerce. E-commerce is process of buying, selling, exchanging of the transferring products, service or information a network of group, including the internet. The method Al-Adah Muhakkamah is used to require the following such as by al-mu'attah, exchange of hands, transaction, sale and purchase using a debit and credit card, and the sale and payment of deposit, Bil-Urbun. First, Bil-Mu'attah is the sale of the act of doing so without the necessity of solicitation of sale in the case of small or retail purchase, or a sale contract whereby the buyer pick up the goods and the seller accept the price without any explicit bargain, Al-Aqd Al-Ta'ati. Equivalent without our custom in Malaysia, the sale and purchase transaction occur without mentioning the ijab and kabul. Treaty called sah as Bil-Mu'attah. Most people, especially in big cities or those who are exposed to trading without non-Muslim, rarely speak of kabul. In addition, in the sale and purchase online, there is also a deposit fee, Bil-Urbun. Looking at the Muslim community today, buying and selling is seen a necessity and a benefit to the community, especially in recent times, as a sign or form of commitment in making purchase agreement. It is aimed at avoiding loss for transaction parties and cost troubling the community. Deposit fee as a guarantee payment for buyer to purchase the product, and seller will be feeling secure to sell the product.
Explanation and analysis of the issue. In ijarah transaction, someone who rent a house without who will stay in the house and what will be done in the house that can be taken benefit from the house that he rent. But the tenant cannot do another work, such as open motorcycle workshop without owner permission. The next issue is about the transaction using internet in the banking. This matter seems become the custom in today's society. The hukumu is required to community facility. Another issue in economy, the transaction that had prohibited matter such as ghara and riba cannot be practiced to individual in community because it is wrongful syarak.
Solution of the issue. Based on the issue by Al-Urbun, there are the solution of by Al-Urbun. The buyer has the right to make the decision whether or not to purchase the good for a specific period, but it is not to his duty to buy. The seller does not have the right to sell to any other buyer, even if it is offered at a higher price, and is obligated to wait a within promised period for receiving advance payment. The price of the good has been agreed upon. This is reflected in their agreement that if the sale process is complete, the upfront payment is considered part of the price of the good. There is a period agreed by both parties to ensure the purchase of the good or not. Therefore, in order to list a transaction as an Al-Urbun contract, these four phases must be met. On the contrary, if these four phases are not met, then the transaction is considered to fall out of the category of Al-Urbun. The solution of the most issue about the sale of an item between the seller and the buyer that is not included with ijab and qabul. It must be something that is currently a completion of the sale and purchase agreement. Items that do not exist during the sale and purchase agreement are not valid unless they are in the sale agreement. It must be an unlawful property if it is not property such as the free and the deed. Furthermore, it is owned by a person personally and is not lawful for the sale of common properties such as river, air and grass in other open field. It must be owned by the seller or he is authorized to sell it.
The solution for the issue which is about ijara or renting. The main purpose of renting a house is to live in that house. The tenant cannot take benefit from the house to do another thing or make the house as a place for work, such as making the place as a workshop without permission from the owner. This is mean al-adah or al-uruf as determination of the purpose rental transaction and guidelines that tenant need to follow. This is also according to the one of the element of al-adat al-muhakkamah, which is at-ta'yin bil-uruf, kat-ta'yin bin-nas, or something that is set with the same rules as the nas. Next issue is about transaction that using the internet banking. The development of technology nowadays has improved well in order to make our life more convenient. Same goes to the transaction for online business. This method that has become the custom in today's society, and the hukum is required to facilitate in transactions such as banking, purchasing, renting, debting, and others. The solution for the last issue, which is transaction or contract that has element of gharar and riba. In implement of al-adah or al-uruf, it must don't have any conflict with the Islamic law. Al-adah or al-uruf must be clean from the place of cancellation in words or acts. This transaction was not follow al-adah or al-uruf because al-adah or al-uruf cannot be continued by any individual due to wrongful syara.
In conclusion, the application of Qawaid al-Adah Muhakkamah is related to the Islamic banking, finance and economic. These legal maxims have a good sources of the basis for the Islamic rulings. The question of why the selection of the scholar using al-Adah Muhakkamah against al-Urf Muhakkamah obvious when viewed in the muamalah. In new era, internet and technology change trends and style, not only a way of communication but also in business and commerce. Likewise, the custom al-adah at one time traded by ijab and qabul and then changed to the bay al-mut'ah, changing hands. Nowadays, most of the people pay with cash and credit or debit cards, but not impossible that people no longer using direct cash. Custom have influence on the formation of Islamic law because many laws are based on maslahah, while maslahah itself can change with changing conditions. Indeed, every law that is prescribed for every Muslim to obey is simple, but it is not always easy to follow. The sources of the law remain based on what has been explained by Allah Almighty and the Messenger of Allah. That's all from us. Thank you.